Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to participate in the 6th Spatial Planning Platform meeting through a video message. My name is Tadashi Matsumoto. I'm a head of unit, Climate Resilience and National Urban Policy at the OECD. Today, I would like to update with you one of our flagship work streams, the 3rd edition of Global State of National Urban Policy Report that we are working together with UN Habitat. Let's start with recalling the definition of national urban policy and how national urban policy has been addressing today's challenges and implement global agendas in cities. National urban policy can be defined as 3 elements. First of all, set of decisions or principle of actions. Second, government-led process. And the third, providing a common vision for and goal for transformative, productive, inclusive, and resilient urban development for the long term. We also, in this work, define explicit national urban policy as formally identified by specific words in its title, such as national urban policy or national urban development policy. National urban policies have increasingly gained in prominence in the global policy discourse in the past decade, in particular through the SDGs and the New Urban Agenda in 2016, which explicitly mentions national urban policy as a tool for its implementation. OECD principles on national urban policy in 2019 also explicitly points to the importance of national urban policy. COVID-19 crisis has raised the profile of national urban policy as key instruments to build more resilient, greener, and more inclusive cities as part of countries' recovery packages. Within this context, we have started the 3rd edition of Global Monitoring of National Urban Policy since the beginning of this year. Overall, the objective of the report is to monitor progress since the 1st and 2nd monitoring, which was in 2018 and 2021, respectively, and highlights trends and changes, measure policy impacts, including the monitoring of the SDG 11.8.1, and analyze how national urban policy can strengthen urban resilience and can enhance affordable, adequate, and sustainable housing. We made a lot of innovations from the 1st and 2nd editions, including more clarity on definition and characteristics, stronger focus on policy impacts and outcomes, and then deeper attention to coherence across multiple policy areas. The monitoring is relying on the National Urban Policy Country Survey, which was launched in June this year. As you see, the survey is structured as 30 questions in 5 parts and focusing on the result and impacts, as well as 2 specific focus areas as urban resilience and housing, as you see in the circles. Until now, as of today, we have 64 responding countries, and you see in the name of countries in the slide, and we are waiting and looking forward to receiving more responses from different countries. Now, I would like to focus on presenting preliminary findings from OECD countries. We summarized them into 6 different findings. The first key findings is that 6 out of 10 OECD countries have an explicit NUP. We have received 30 answers from 38 OECD countries, and 26 of them have a national urban policy. 59% of the responding countries have an explicit NUP, and 60% of national urban policy is under implementation. Second, national urban policy remains a strategic and coordination tool for national urban system. Here we focused on explicit national urban policy and then asked key characteristics of national urban policy. More countries recognize NUP as a playing horizontal coordination and vision setting roles. This is consistent with the result of the previous report. Third, diversified finance is key for implementing national urban policy. In the country survey, we asked the source of financing. The answers highlighted that national urban policies are mostly financed through national direct investment or national grant and subsidies. But we also find that the private sector is playing an important role. And from the result, we can also stress that the needs for diversifying subnational financing to implement national urban policy. Fourth, national urban policy is delivering impacts for urban planning and design, as well as institutional arrangement. In the survey, we asked where NUP has delivered tangible results or improvement. Two top answers are inclusive design and the use of urban spaces and services, and better institutional arrangements. Fifth, national urban policy is focusing on climate-related disasters within the resilience agenda. In the survey, we asked which major shocks, crises, and uncertainties are included and potentially addressed by national urban policy. The result tells us that NUP is mostly focusing on ecological and climate shocks and crises, which are shown in green bars in the graphic. In particular, climate-related disasters and long-term impacts. Economic shocks and crises shown in yellow bars are also tackled to some extent, but social and institutional shocks are less included or addressed in national urban policy. Last but not least, affordability is the most recognized challenge among housing challenges. In the survey, we asked major housing challenges in cities and urban areas, and we found affordability is a major concern, as you see in the blue bars in the graphic. Adequate and sustainable housing are also addressed to some extent, particularly energy efficiency in housing is a key challenge that is identified in national urban policy. These are preliminary findings, and we continue to analyze the data. And then also we welcome receiving more surveys. 3 research directions are considered as a next steps. First one is looking at policy coherence, how national urban policy can better pursue their commitment to global agendas, and then also to address shocks, building resilience, and solve housing crisis. Second research focus would be, can explicit NUPs lead to more effective and efficient results or not? And the third research directions would be the role of monitoring and evaluation frameworks, particularly focusing on how they can ensure the life cycle approach, meaning from the preparation stage, implementation stage, and after the national urban policy, we would like to ensure that all the process would be monitored and evaluated. Thank you very much for your attention to this presentation. And at the end, we would like to stress that your participation to the survey is still very important to make this report more impactful and more robust. And you are welcome to contact the contacts listed in the slide, and we are very much looking forward to your support in advance. Thank you very much for your attention, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.